From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives.
Hey, what's going on, fam jam? Welcome to Myers-Briggs Typing Indicator Mondays, or MBTI Mondays, on the damn channel. This is our first episode, so I'm super excited to produce it for you tonight. This afternoon? I don't know. Whatever. It's 5:15. I digress. Welcome to the damn channel. I appreciate you showing up on my very first show. This is episode 1.001. We're going to be talking about Myers-Briggs, as I've said a couple of times. Let's just get into it. Okay, so what is Myers-Briggs? What's the deal with it? Well, Myers-Briggs is a personality theory that separates people into 16 distinct personalities, right? We start off with E on one side and on the other. Everybody fits in one of these boxes. So before we get into that a little bit more, let's just talk a little bit about history. History to me is mostly irrelevant, but it is important to pay heed to those that came before us, to honor the work that they laid down before we came along. Okay, so the Myers-Briggs Typing Indicator. There's two people involved. They're named Myers and Briggs. Who'd have thunk, right? So Catherine Cook Briggs started developing personality in 1917. She started beginning her research, and she came up with 4 different types: the meditative types, the spontaneous types, the executive types, and the social types. In 1923, a book by Carl G. Jung called Psychological Types was translated into English. It was originally published in 1921. Catherine Briggs picked it up in 1923. She recognized it as being very similar to her own theory, but going much further beyond. So she decided to kind of abandon her original research and just build on what Jung was starting. So she teamed up with her daughter, Isabel Briggs Myers. So there's our Myers-Briggs is Catherine Cook Briggs and Isabel Briggs Myers. They're mother and daughter. They worked for 20 years developing this theory. In 1944, they published a manual called the Briggs-Myers Typing Indicator Handbook. And then in 1956, the name changed to the Myers-Briggs Typing Indicator. Throughout the years, more and more books were published, and many more researchers have gotten onto the topic. Check out what you feel like checking out. The rest of that is, more history, and I'm not too worried about it. So let's kind of get into it a little bit. So we've got these 8-letter combinations. What does that mean? Okay, so the E stands for extrovert. And so the E versus I has to do with your energy regulation. So extrovert versus introvert. So this is energy regulation. This has absolutely nothing to do with social preference. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet out there and a lot of generalizations made about extroverts versus introverts. A lot of it is wrong, I'm sorry to say. What I'm about to tell you is correct. Most people who know what they're talking about will agree with this. Extroverts gather their energy from the outside world, from interacting with people and the outside world. Introverts get their energy from being alone, right? Extroverts balance energy from the outside. Introverts balance their energy from the inside. Get it? Ask yourself this question. In a good social situation, you're at a party, you're hanging out with some really good friends, you're having a good time. At the end of the night, are you more likely to want to keep going on? You're energized, you're just full and pumped up? Or, is enough and you need to get home and you need to rest and relax and recharge? Which type are you? Extroverts, they want to keep going all night. Introverts, not so much. Next, how we perceive information, how we gather information. On one side, we have intuition, and on the other side, we have sensing or sensation. Okay, so intuition and sensing work on a time scale. Intuition is the future, sensing is the past. I should have done these in the other way around. So intuition is involved with seeing things how they are and how they can be, possibilities. Sensing looks at things just as they are. It's more concrete. Ask yourself, are you more of an abstract thinker, big picture thinker, or are you more concrete? Are you more interested in actual things right in front of you? Which one are you? Next, we talk about how you make decisions. There is thinking and there is feeling. This is an objectivity scale. So thinking is objective thinking. You use critical reasoning and logic to make your decisions. You use your head. Feeling, you use your heart. You look at things, factors like other people and special circumstances, and to make your decision. So this is objective and this is subjective. And then lastly, we're looking at how you deal with your information. So this is perceiving or judging. Okay, so perceivers, they like to see things as open as possible. They like to see possibilities. They want to keep options open. They're more likely to go with the flow. Judging, they want decisions just to be made. They just want things to get done. They're more likely to be more planned with a more rigid organization system, whereas perceivers can be more of a chaotic organization system. I am one of these, ENTP, so an extrovert, intuitive, thinking, perceiving person. That means a whole bunch of things, and we're going to get into the types a little more heavily later. I'm just laying down the basics and the groundworks for this first video. This is where we're going to leave you off because, well, I like to leave you hanging. Join me tomorrow for Tech Tuesdays, which I'm going to be picking up any piece of hardware I feel like and giving you a little bit of a rundown as to how it is and how I feel about it and stuff like that. Whatever. Anyways. Next week, we're going to revisit the Myers-Briggs Typing Indicator on Monday, Myers-Briggs Typing MBTI Mondays. Okay, so let's talk about where you can find some more information. One place that I recommend for some things but not for others, 16personalities.com. That place is a really great information zone for the different types. And they have a test there that you can take, and that is a great starting ground. Take everything that's on there with a grain of salt, and also remember that the testing is not entirely accurate. With self-testing, nobody can be objective enough to be 100% accurate. It takes more than just an online test to be able to figure out your type. So just look there as a starting point. Look there, take the test, find out what your type is, and then read the type description. And if it sounds like you, it's more likely to actually be you. If you look at that and you say to yourself, I don't really fit, it's probably not you. What then you would do is try to exchange some of the letters and maybe look at the types that are really close. Like if you get ISFP and you're like, I don't know really if that's me, maybe you should look at ISFJ. The differences can sometimes be minor, but they can also it's big. We'll get into it later. Anyway, so 16 personalities. The guys over at Personality Hacker are awesome. They have a really, really great model, and I will get into their model again a little bit later. But if you want to jump the gun, you can go and check out their podcast and their website. They got lots of really cool stuff. If you liked this episode, subscribe to this channel. I know it's a little bit empty right now, but it'll fill up. I've got lots of plans for lots of content. Follow me on Twitter at DA Myers, and if you have any questions, just throw a comment down below or on Twitter. I'm really active on there. I love it. I love social media, and that's about it. So see you tomorrow.
Fundamental changes in society are sometimes labeled